to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome you all out tonight for our last meeting in 2022. Future board meetings are January 10th at 6 p.m. We will have the regular meeting, the Board of Finance meeting, and the organizational meeting. Also January 24th and February 14th here at 6 p.m.
President Daisy, I just want to mention one thing. We are actually going to change the Board of Finance, and you'll get an update on that too. But we're going to change the Board of Finance to the 24th instead of the 10th. We have all the way until the end of the month to be able to do that. We have done that in the past, but because of the early date and banks not being open some, and to get everything reconciled, we want to make sure that we have enough time to get all that completed.
Okay.
So if you come for just the Board of Finance, it won't be until the 24th.
Should have something for you.
That's the most exciting thing.
Yes. There you go.
Thank you.
The most exciting thing about that is you will have to see my mug. We have no revisions to the agenda except for we've had some last minute additions to our public recognition. So we're going to go straight into that. For public recognition, we have a recommendation to approve a $737 donation from Ronald and Amy Wilson, $100 of that. Joseph and Cynthia Bell, $100. Dan and Teresa Snyder, $400. Angie Lashavio, $137 for Southwood students DC trip. Recommendation to approve a $1,150 donation from $500 of it anonymous. Gephardt Holdings, $300. First Farmers Converse, $100. TTG Equipment, $250 for Southwoods Theater Department. Also have a recommendation to approve a $500 donation from Hoffman's Nursery for Northfield Girls Basketball. A recommendation to approve the $4,375 donation for Northfield Boys Basketball. And those are, the donors are Michelle Perry, Rex and Sharon Shaw, each of those $100. Lazy ELLC, $100. Ty and Kimberly Bear, $100. Kitty Bear, she's listed twice, but $100, so I'm not sure what that is. Craig and Tanya Hoppus, $100. Dynamic Ceramics, $100. Crow Beef LLC, $100. Aaron Shaw, $100. RTP Holdings, $100. Thorn Insurance, $100. Anthony and Kelly Sword, $150. Amelia Rozier, $500. Brad and Tammy Farlow, $75. Wander Home Realty, $200. Lisa Duncan Streeter, $50. Troy and Stacy Bear, $150. Dan and Michelle Sparling, $75. Steve Fawcett, $25. Tony and Roxy Rozier, $250. North Manchester Timeout Inn, $100. Shepherd's Chevrolet in North Manchester, $200. Gaunt and Son, $300. Gephardt Holdings, $300. Wildman Business Group in Warsaw, $300. Eric Bostwick Earthworks, $100. Metzger Property Services, $100. Whole Foods, $100. McKee Mortuary in North Manchester, $100. Hoffman's Nursery and Landscaping, $100. The total of the gift is, again, $4,375, and that is for Northfield's boys basketball program. So we certainly appreciate all of those people who pitched in for that. We also have a recommendation to approve a $2,525 donation from Glow, a Christian bookstore, $500. Airgood Family Farms, $200. Slimmer Brothers Metalworks, $75. Crossroads Bank, $500. Firemoon Tire in Peru, $150. Foreman and Bunch Orthodontics, $500. Bowman Farms, $500. And Beacon Credit Union, $100 for the Southwood Theater Department. Have a recommendation to approve a $1,000 donation from Matt and Shannon Schreider, $400, MMA Minded LLC, $200, Wabash County Sheriff's Department, $200, Flowtech Plumbing and Heating, $200 for Northfield Wrestling. Have a recommendation to approve a $1,000 from an anonymous donor for Southwood Baseball. A recommendation to approve a $360.36 donation to Donors Choose. Donors include Pat Meyer, Adele Heiser, Carolyn Gray, Xavier Scott, Stephen Poling, and several anonymous donors, and the Bill Gates Foundation. Mrs. Harrell will receive 2 tables and 6 chairs for a kid-size farmhouse table. Recommendation to approve a $300 donation from Gebhardt Holdings for Northfield Wrestling. A recommendation to approve a $100 donation from Sean and Natalie Unger for Southwood Elementary Robotics Team. A recommendation to approve a $500 donation from Crum Farms for Northfield Girls Basketball. A recommendation to approve a $3,600 donation from First Farmers Bank and Trust for staff appreciation / staff spotlight. And a recommendation to approve a $630 donation from Hoffman's Nursery for boys basketball, for Northfield boys golf, for golf balls. Those are I think that's the longest list of donations I have read, probably forever.
Can we go offline for a little bit? Does he have to do that again?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody put a comment. Can you read those again?
No.
I'm moved to approve all those generous donations.
Well, second that.
Motion and second to approve those donations as read. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Next we have school recognition, students and staff, and I guess we'll start with,
Mrs. Moore. Mrs. Moore is actually, she's ill, just like a lot of students in our district and staff, and so she's not here tonight, so if Mr. McDivitt would want to go first, and then I have a few more after that.
okay.
Thank you. I just want to take an opportunity to celebrate a couple of students that have graduated recently. Not going to share their full names with you, but we had 2 young ladies that graduated this past week. And one, I won't use her first name, Mercedes. She was a student that came to us earlier in 2022, did not have a successful placement. She returned to us, I think, with a different approach to life and a better attitude about things, and really has done a super job. And so I think not just people at school, but everyone on campus is really just, those are the success stories that are really cool to see. So I want to congratulate those students. But there's 2 employees I also just want to, I cannot say enough about Barry Boyer, who's our Dean of Students, and his, I don't know what to call Mrs. Feldheim, but she does a little bit of everything in ISS and assisting Barry. And even though the population of our school is not significant, we only have about 52 kids in the building, they're busy. They are very busy, and they do a fabulous job managing kids' conduct and behavior. Which typically, it's really not about us. It's not about teeth. It's just stuff that we're dealing with. And Barry and Linda do a fantastic job in dealing with those kids and processing with them and providing the appropriate consequences when necessary, but with the goal of getting them back to class. And certainly, everybody at school is important. Everyone has a role to play. But man, Barry and Linda just do a phenomenal job, and I just want to make sure that the board knows those 2 people are invaluable to what we do. So,
All right, thank you. And then I'll go ahead and the ones that were written from Mr. Snyder at Northfield, and I'll read several of those. First of all, Northfield girls basketball received an exemplary behavior report from official Jason Fall following the Mississinawa basketball game. Mr. Fall wrote, "I'd like to commend both coaching staffs and teams for the great sportsmanship shown in this contest that I officiated. Both schools were represented in a very positive manner in the IHSAA. School, corporations, and communities should be very proud. Great job, official Justin Fall." Northfield art teacher, Mr. Adams Weevil, had 23 students submit entries to the annual Honeywell Center Winter Street Banner Contest held on Wednesday, November 16th. All 23 were fantastic, and out of those 23, we had 3 earned special honors. Congratulations to 10th grader Addison Kinsey for being the overall NHS winner. and to 8th grade Zoe Music and 10th grader Emma Bone for being the best in counting for their grades. So that's very, very awesome. Congratulations to the Northfield All TRC Academic Award winners. At Northfield, first team All TRC, Avery Schreider for volleyball, Malachi Higgins for football, Kylie Leland for golf, Ella Hunter volleyball, Eden Hoover volleyball, Turner Stevens football. Honorable mention was Mason Fisher for football, Eli Crow football, Asia Miller cross country, Reese Rosine football, Mara Zolman, cross country, Madeline Moore, cross country, Trinity Beaver, cross country, Gabriel Hopper, volleyball, Gabby.
Gabby, she's gonna shoot.
I'm just reading what it says here. Gabby Hopper, volleyball, Ava Copeland, volleyball. All right, so continuing on. It's hard when you have those people.
I know.
I read this all the time. All right, we'll continue.
I'm glad none of these people's had their parents here.
Yes, right. So continuing on for Northfield, congratulations to North football players Eli Crow and Mason Fisher for making a 1A All-State. Crow was recognized for his punting efforts and Fisher as a defensive back. Also for Northfield, Malachi Higgins recognized by the Indianapolis Colts and is an Indiana Football Coaches Association Academic All-Star. Malachi's presence on the offensive and defensive lines are key to the success of Northfield. Academically, Malachi currently stands as a salutatorian for his graduating class. And then the last one for Northfield, boys basketball staff and team received an exemplary behavior report from official Tim Nolan at Eastern on November 22nd. Mr. Nolan said, "I had the privilege of officiating the Northfield versus Eastern varsity boys basketball game at Eastern. Northfield coach Reimer does an excellent job with his team. They play the game as it was intended to be played. Coach Reimer and staff coached the game and did not try to officiate as well. This team is to be commended for their positive attitude and sportsmanship as well. Very fun game to do. Well done, coach, in teaching life lessons along with teaching the game." Yeah, we only pay the 3 officials. We don't pay the coaches to officiate or the fans. And for Southwood, although we all like to help. Southwood would like to congratulate science teacher Mrs. Rena Markstaller for completing the necessary graduate credits to become credentialed under the Higher Learning Commission, HLC, requirements for dual credit instructors through their STEM Teach Indiana program. We are proud of Mrs. Markstaller's accomplishments and impressed by the enthusiasm she brings to the classroom every day. Way to go, Mrs. Markstaller. Southwood High School received an exemplary behavior report from official Tim Nolan for their conduct during the varsity basketball game versus Lewis Cass. I had the privilege of officiating the Southwood versus Lewis Cass varsity basketball game at Southwood. Southwood Coach Perry does an excellent job with his team. They play the game as it was intended to be played. Coach Perry and staff coached the game and did not try to officiate as well. Wow. His team is to be commended for their positive attitude and sportsmanship as well. Very fun game to do, and the hospitality was awesome. Well done, coach, in teaching life lessons along with teaching the game. All right. Yeah, easy. You know, it is good though, because they don't have to do that necessarily. And I'm sure if they have technical fouls and they kick people out of games, they probably won't get an exemplary report. So that's good. On Saturday, a surprise, this is at Southwood, a retirement party was held to celebrate the many accomplishments of Southwood Knight varsity football coach Dave Snyder. Coach Snyder loves the game of football and sought to impart that love of the game to his players. In the past 5 years, Coach Snyder amazed a 45-12 record. In the last 10 years, he had a mark of 87-30. Coach Snyder would defer any credit about his record to the many excellent players he has coached during the tenure at Southwood. However, the coach doesn't have an excellent winning percentage like this without having an excellent knowledge of the game and an ability to impart that to the players. The Southwood family would like to give a heartfelt thank you to Coach Snyder for the many years of dedication to the program. We are so thankful for his efforts. On another note, we would like to recommend that Wabash All right, I'm gonna read this. On another note, we'd like to recommend that Wabash City Schools name their football field after Coach Snyder because he has basically owned the Apaches ever since.
Wow.
Okay.
The truth is there, the truth is there. All right, Mr. Daisy, I think that's all I have for tonight.
All right. Next, we have the public comment for agenda items only. Is anybody that would like to speak on the agenda? All right. Moving on to the consent agenda items, approval of minutes from our last regular meeting, which was held on November 8th.
I move to accept the minutes. Second.
Motion and second to accept the meetings from the meeting minutes from November 8th. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Approval of financial reports, claims.
I didn't have any questions. I move to accept claims.
Motion and second to accept claims as presented. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Payroll, we're going to do number 9 and 10 together.
Number 9 just reflects, some coaches' pays starting to be paid out. Same with number 10. Next payroll, just so you know, this upcoming payroll, once a year, we receive monies from the state for teacher appreciation grants. That goes in its own fund, and that's to pay teachers that were rated as effective or highly effective, a stipend. And so those payments will go out in December 15th. So payroll will be a lot higher because of that extra stipend pay coming from money from the state.
Move to payroll.
Motion and second to approve payroll, both payrolls as read, as presented, I guess. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Financial summary.
Those are the fund balances, for the end of November. So as you can see, our education fund is just hovering right around $9 million. And our operations fund is hovering at 5.2. Obviously in December, we'll receive revenue for our tax levies, so that will increase that balance in our operations fund, which you'll see in the cash flow. So if you look at the cash flow, start with education fund. Obviously, there's only one more month. Our anticipated end of the year balance is around $9.2 million. That will probably fluctuate depending on transfer tuition receipts and those types of things. At this point, we've received about 65% of the monies that we've billed out for transfer tuition, which is pretty standard at this time of the year for those dollars amounts. So depending on how much we would collect in December for some of that stuff would impact that end balance. But everything else is pretty in line for the remainder of that. And then with operations, like I mentioned before, the property tax revenue we will receive in December, which then we are looking at close to having a fund balance of $6.5 million, $6.6 million at the end of the calendar year. Once we get to that Board of Finance meeting, which everybody's anticipating in January, We'll have information that will close out 2022 and give you a kind of a picture of where we sit from a financial standpoint at the end of the year. That's all I have.
Not hearing any questions, we'll move on to personnel. Under resignation, we have Amy Unger, psychologist intern for WMAP. See the effective date there. Mary Lycan, paraprofessional at Northfield High School. Brittany Rivas, temporary occupational therapist at WMAP. Under employment, we have Sue Rehard, custodian at Southwood High School. Brittany Brown, cook at Southwood Elementary School. And Jasper Donaldson, volunteer wrestling coach for Northfield High School. Under retirement, we have Gary Norman, teacher at the end of this school year, will be retiring. Dan Snyder, teacher, Southwood High School, also effective at the end of the school year. For leave, we have employees number 146 and 147, and you see the effective dates there. And for termination, we have employee number 148 terminated effective that date in November. Under Southwood coaches, for spring, we have Carl Pace, head softball. Gary Marion, varsity assistant softball. Chad Lambert, JV softball. Kristen McCourt, JV softball. Corey Blocker, head baseball. Dan Lloyd, varsity assistant baseball. Kyle Zerfus, varsity assistant baseball. And Christian Dieter, volunteer for baseball.
Before you vote, can I talk about our retirees at this time?
Sure.
And maybe I would ask that you not vote on them, like keep them. So first of all, Gary Norman. Gary Norman has been with us for 43 years. And as you know, that he was at Sharp Creek as a classroom teacher, and then he transitioned to be a physical education teacher at both Metro North Elementary and Sharp Creek Elementary. And then, of course, he was a long time coach at Northwood High School. So we really do appreciate him for those 43 years. I told him, I said, surely you could get to 45 years. But he said 43 years. And so it's always good, though, to see his positive attitude, positive with all the children that he works with. And we just appreciate all his time with us. Did an excellent job. And then, of course, Dan Snyder. We talked about him a couple of years ago because he did retire. We recruited him, drafted him, brought him back for one more year to help us out. And so he was originally with us for he taught for 33 years, and then he added, of course, one more year, 34 years. And then at MSD of Wabash, 15 years, we brought him back for the 1 year, so he was 16 years at Southwood High School. And we do appreciate him a lot too, and wish him well in his second retirement as he moves forward. So I guess you have to accept it.
We do. They won't show up either way.
There you go.
I move to approve the HR report.
Second that.
Motion and second to approve personnel as read. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, Hartley Career Center report, Matt.
I have none tonight.
All right. Superintendent's report, Mr. Kefever.
Well, first of all, I do want to mention most of our community did receive an email about a fire that happened with one of our South families. There are 4 children, and so we did send that out. We'd love for people to look at that, and they're basically MSD of Wabash and also the Sheriff's Department working together to be able to do a fundraiser for them for basically just having gift cards. And so you can drop those off at Southwood, Junior Senior High School, Southwood Elementary, the Sheriff's Department, or here. And there was an email, there will be things on Facebook too about that too. So we're just glad that they'll be all okay, but obviously it's a very tough situation with 6 of the family, of course, getting close to Christmas time and things like that. So just wanted to mention that for those people that may not receive the information, but all of our community should have received that email today, this afternoon. And of course, we'll put it on social media. And also, we'd like to spend just a couple of minutes to talk about our outgoing president and board member, Mr. Todd Daisy. I will start out with Mr. Bowman was not able to be here tonight, but he did write something that I'd like to share. Todd, I'm sorry I'm unable to attend your last meeting as a board member. I've appreciated your leadership over the last number of years we have served together. You have a heart for the students in our community. You have been great at supporting our teachers and staff, and I challenge the future board to continue following your example in the years ahead. Most of all, I treasure the friendship we have developed. I will always remember the times we crossed paths at Wellbrook and offered encouragement to each other. Thanks, Todd. Enjoy your free Tuesday nights. And I also would like to just say that I've been very appreciative of President Daisy. I know some of you don't necessarily know that there are other things that we do. There's a lot of emails that he receives, a lot of text messages. He gets my updates that hopefully he reads every Saturday or Sunday or sometime. But also, as president, he has been very faithful to be in our cabinet meetings. So prior to the board meetings, typically on the Wednesday prior to our Tuesday meeting of the week before, either he comes in person or we just go over the actual agenda and just talk about those things. So there's no surprises about it. And if there's things that he wants to talk about, we can do that too. So I know that your first year was in 2015. So in 2 terms, 8 years, a lot of Tuesdays. I don't know if you counted those up before, but just really, really appreciate your leadership and what you do for our school district.
Appreciate that.
So I don't know if anybody from, well, we got some family members here too, but so we are, I will just say too that we, yeah.
Yes, I get scolded into it.
Okay, I want to make sure because I didn't see it. So we're having a little celebration after work, afterwards with cake, and so you're welcome to stay for that too. So
May I mention something?
yes.
When Todd first came, he was sitting in the back there because he had some issues and he was talking about. And as he sat there and conversed with us, he thought, you know, what's a better place to be to make a change than to be on this side? And it's been tremendous having Todd on this side. I mean, he's been good for the board, very much so.
Thank you.
And this isn't necessarily a goodbye, this is just see you later. And all that
Okay.
stuff. You're still gonna be around, so you're just not gonna be here, so. So don't think that you're not gonna be able to talk to us anymore.
Okay. Yeah, I'll see.
Yeah, but Susan, we appreciate all you've done.
Outside,
Appreciate that.
appreciate that. Curriculum and instruction report.
Not much to say. We're wrapping up the semester, and semester finals are on the way. And so you'll be hearing about science curriculum when we come back in January, and maybe some testing results. No, probably not even in January. It's probably just the science is upcoming.
All right, we'll move on to new business. We've got a list of those too. We'll start with number 1, recommendation to approve the end of year resolution.
Yes, so this is a resolution that we do at the end of the year that just allows us to make adjustments to any appropriations that we need to make adjustments to. We're not spending any additional funds, we're just needing to move around appropriations to make sure that everything balances out. And then it also allows us to pay any bills that we have that need to be paid before the calendar year 2022 ends. Which you still have approval of those, you just won't have approval of those until after January.
I move to approve the end of year resolution.
I'll second that.
Motion and second to approve the end of the year resolution. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Recommendation to distribute the teacher appreciation grant, stipends, and superintendent salary increase.
I could talk about the first two.
Okay.
So the tag monies, Dr. Kuhn already mentioned that. We already have a policy for that, and those teachers will be receiving those stipends, that grant money, whether they're effective or highly effective. And there actually is a difference, and that's through the state of Indiana that tells us that there has to be a 25% difference between effective and highly effective. And so we sharpen the pencils and make sure that that's done correctly. And so they will be receiving that as part of that grant. And like Dr. Kuhn said, that comes to us in a different fund And you'll see that next.
On when we approve next payroll.
Yeah, so that's that. And then also stipends through, that go along with the teacher appreciation grant for some other employees. And then I'll let you talk about these.
I will. I will speak about the superintendent's salary increase. It's my turn to say some nice things. Mr. Kefever mentioned that when I came on, my first year on the board was in 2015. And when I ran for board and took my seat, we were approximately $500,000 in the red in our, it was called the general fund back in those days. It's kind of morphed into now the educational fund, but that was a really bad thing. And one of the first things that I remember doing that had any kind of significant consequence was bringing in Bruce Staley, a former superintendent who's now a consultant for a lot of boards, does a lot of interim superintendent type stuff. Brought him in, opened up the books and said, what are we doing wrong? Where do we need to go? And so we brought Mr. Kefever in as the Assistant Superintendent of Finance and put him under the mentorship of Bruce. And within the first year, started turning that around. And then when Dr. Weaver retired, we moved him up, Mr. Kefever up to superintendent, and made another wise decision in bringing in Dr. Kuhn, who has continued the things that that Bruce has taught Mike, and then also mentored Chris. We appreciate that. I have heard from several teachers who've been here for a long time, and have heard that they believe that we have the best admin team that we could possibly have had. And to that end, I want to recommend to this board that we give Mr. Kefever a salary increase. We didn't do it with the rest of the salary increases for the classified, no, the certain, as classified in administration. We waited until our last time that we met, that you didn't know about, was an executive session where we do performance reviews. And so we wanted to get that performance review in and make sure that this was the thing that we want to do. And so it is my recommendation that, and we have discussed that amount. And so I would like to recommend to this board that we go ahead and pass his salary increase.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second to approve the recommendation to distribute the teacher appreciation grant, the stipends, and the salary increase for Mr. Kefever. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
The next item is the Elementary and Secondary School Emergency Relief Fund, ESSER. It's a 6-month requirement to review and make recommendations to approve. The recommendation is to approve no changes to the current reentry plan and supplement.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second to approve the elementary and secondary, the ESSER fund required, the 6-month requirement. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Recommendation to approve the extended out-of-state field trip to Chicago, Illinois on April 28th, 2023 for Sharp Creek 5th grade. I'm going to lump the field trips all in here together. There's, looks like the rest of them. Recommendation to approve an overnight field trip to Salamone Reservoir, May 31st through June 1st for Minds in Action Level 1. A recommendation to approve the overnight extended field trip to Spring Mill State Park, Marengo Cave, and Clifty Falls State Park, June 5 through 9 of 2023 for Minds in Action Level 2. And a recommendation to approve the overnight out-of-state field trip to the Northeast, June 11th to the 22nd, 2023 for Minds in Actions Level 3. On a side note, I would like to say that I'm glad to see that that Science in Motion program returning under a new name, but my children did that, and I think it was a good thing for them, so I'm glad to see that coming back. Recommendation to approve the overnight extended field trip to New York on March 11th through 16th for Northfield seniors. And finally, a recommendation to approve an overnight out-of-state trip to Danville, Illinois, December 29th, 30th of this year for Southwood Wrestling for the 11th Annual New Year's Challenge High School Wrestling Tournament.
I move to approve all these field trips.
I'll second that.
Motion and second to approve the field trips is read. All in favor, say aye. And we have no unfinished business. Any board policy?
Nope.
Okay. Public comment for any items? Any items from board members? Oh, I'm sorry. There's almost never any, but yeah, we'll back up to public comment, yes.
Well, I just wanted to state, publicly, my appreciation to the administrators and the board members for all the work and dedication they put in for the referendum. I know how many meetings you guys probably spent working and getting to that point. And Todd, as you complete your last meeting as a former board member, I know the time and dedication it takes, and appreciate your willingness to serve in that capacity for the community.
Thank you. I guess for items from board members, the only thing I would add to that, I didn't prepare a big, long exit speech because I know people get tired of hearing me speak, but I just want to thank the voters of MSD for giving me a couple terms to do this. I might have continued on, but the circumstances around my life changed a couple years ago, and so I think it's time to move into a different direction, and so that's why I did not run for re-election. Pursue other interests, as they say. So appreciate it, and I've enjoyed every minute I've had working with this board and this admin team, and I know I'm leaving it in good hands. Jeff Porter comes to you as a man of integrity and conservative values, and so I know he's going to step up to the plate and serve this district well.